What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, are Robert DeFelice.
Hey, everybody.
And Callum Wiggins.
Hello.
Hello. We're in the caves.
It's like I'm falling. You know. Get it?
Right for the fallen?
No, that's not it at all. I don't know why you mentioned that. Oh, that's the podcast. Oh,
that's
right,
the podcast.
Yes, we are talking Fight for the Fallen here. That is happening this Saturday, July 13th at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. It's going to be happening at the exact same time as Evolve 131 on the WWE Network, but we're going to be focusing a little bit more attention on Fight for the Fallen because it is AEW's third show, and it is a charity show to a certain extent. Some part of the proceeds, at the very least, maybe not all of it, I don't know, are going to victims of gun violence. So thumbs up when it comes to that. We are going to break down the card that right now, at least 4:45 on Wednesday afternoon, the 10th, is only consisting of 6 matches. So there might be more matches. There might not be more matches, depending on how they kind of structure this. It is an extra kind of show. They did just do Fyter Fest, and we do have All Out coming up soon. So there might not be as big of a show for this. And frankly, I'm hoping that that's the case. I don't want this to be super long. I'd rather this be kind of shorter because it's easier for the Evolve show. It's easier for my schedule because we got Extreme Rules coming up the next night too. And I think that it's okay to have a shorter show. It is free for people that are checking out Bleacher Report Live.
For people that are in America. Sorry, Cal.
It's free elsewhere this time, isn't it?
No.
What? I thought I had seen something about it being free on Fight.
I haven't checked, but potentially.
Last I saw, it was like £8 because then it was $13.
Huh. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I thought I had seen something about it being free on Fight, but I mean, it might depend on your country. It might depend on subscription services or something like that. I don't really know, but it is cheaper if not free.
It's £9 as it was for the previous show.
Yeah. Well,
USA.
All Out is definitely not going to be free. So I guess if you have the free advantage, take advantage of it while you can on, those people.
If it wasn't for the USA, we wouldn't be having a show that's benefiting victims of gun violence anyway.
That's true.
I take back my previous USA.
We do have 6 matches on the card. I invite you to drop your comments below on YouTube if you are on YouTube. And if you are there, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. But in the meantime, if you are elsewhere, go to smarkoutmoment.com and break down those kind of things. Your thoughts on everything like that in the comments there. iTunes and Stitcher and all that other kind of stuff. No comment section, but you can pop around somewhere. So, yeah, Fight for the Fallen. First off, let's just talk about the name. I don't like the name.
It's okay. It emphasizes the charity aspect of the show. And I get AEW's trying to do some good. But I'm not big on things like that. It seems like what your local indie fed would do.
That's where I was kind of going with here. This doesn't feel like it's the same as if WWE were to be doing something. I mean, it does sound like Tribute to the Troops. That's the thing. And I'll give them credit for that. It's like their essential Tribute to the Troops, Fight for the Fallen, Tribute to the Troops, same kind of thing or whatever like that. I just don't really like the ring of it. It's a little just kind of, it doesn't like flow for me as much. I hate the fucking logo.
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot privately.
I mean, there is a thing with this logo. If you do a search for the transparent version of logo, you find my transparent version of the logo. Because they just don't seem to be posting these things. I mean, they're just a nitpick about something. I don't know how a company that owns as much as they own for WWE and has as much pull runs into problems where they don't have their graphics department up to date, and you've got to go on smarkoutmoment.com to find out that the Usos versus the Revival is on the card until the next day, that kind of thing. They have their issues, and that is inexcusable because they should have this kind of stuff well in advance. They should have that stuff set up. Same thing for AEW, though, to a certain extent, because AEW now has had, 3 months, I think, for Fight for the Fallen to have a logo that hasn't been cut off on the left-hand side of it. I don't know how you can upload things like that. It just drives me crazy because it's like the first time that you upload that, it's a mistake and it should be fixed. You should fix it over the course of like 2 months, you know? Drives me crazy. I hate the logo. Not a big fan of the name. What are you thinking, Callum?
I don't have a problem with the name. I don't know why certain people go along the lines of, oh, this sounds like an indie name. Like, who's the people deciding what's a WWE big deal name and what's an independent name? Surely the idea of this is it's a bunch of independent wrestlers that are looking to take on the top people in WWE. Is this? I think there's quite a lot of pompousness surrounding people that say things along those lines, suggesting that, oh, WWE would never name a show like this. It's like, well, yeah, WWE sucks most of the time on a lot of stuff they do. So what's your point exactly? I think the name, I mean, I'm a sucker for alliteration, so I'm going to like the name Fight for the Fallen. I think it just epitomizes what they're doing. I could say there's probably better examples there, but I'd just like say you can't really go, it's a great night for gun violence or something along those lines. Like, it's not going to...
Yeah, it's a good thing that they didn't go with that. That would have been fucking awful.
Yeah. Or grappling for gunshot wounds or something along those lines. It's like, it's not gonna. Yeah. So out of those choices,
what's the name of the next Saudi show?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like suplex for stoning. Exactly. Yeah, that's the next one. But no, it is a little bland. I'll admit that, but I don't think it's very offensive by any stretch of the imagination. The logo, I mean, it does look quite photoshopped. Like, that does look a bit hokey, but again, I don't know if I was expecting anything better. I don't really know what to. Again, I'm still feeling out AEW at this point in time. I
also don't like that they just had Fighter Fest and this is Fight for the Fallen. It's like, I don't want them. You gotta get the same thing, like just kind of switch it up and don't use the word fight all the time like that. This is nitpicking, by the way, everybody. Like, if anybody's gonna leave a comment below and be like, "You're fucking crapping all over AEW," no, this is nitpicking just to get. And this is why we won't be
tuning in, obviously.
As somebody who had to write AEW Fighter Fest, AEW Fight for the Fallen, I constantly, when speaking and writing, kept starting with Fighter and then had to back up and go, no, wait, this is Fight for the Fallen, because they're only 2 weeks apart. It was a little too close for my liking, but again, this is extreme nitpicking when we get down to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's Extreme Rules this weekend. We got extreme nitpicking. It's a different type of thing. It doesn't really do for anything for me as far as the name goes. Like, I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more fun, I guess, or something. I don't know. But the logo too is just I don't like it. We don't know a whole lot of names for that. Like, did they have any other names that they haven't done yet? Because I know All Out was very early on.
Nope. This is the
last one that they had trademarked.
The limits of their trademark. So they had All Out, Fight for the Fallen, and the show Tuesday Night Dynamite, which they've now trademarked Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah, because we don't have anything else other than that I can remember.
So whatever's next will be brand new.
Yeah, I can't say for certain, but you feel the assumption that at the very most there'll be one other show between All Out and the TV show launching, and I imagine they'll try and spend most of September trying to build up interest for the first show in the first week of October.
I don't know about that, but I definitely think there will be one between All Out and January. Like, I'm sure there'll be a December show.
There'll definitely be one like that, but I imagine they may not announce that one until the first show. So the first show, you'll find out when the next big show is going to be and all that other stuff.
What if they trademarked, well, it's the big show, just to piss off WWE?
I think WWE would fight them tooth and nail.
The card itself, how are you feeling about the card? It's only 6 matches. I'm very, very underwhelmed with this. It's a free show for me, being in the United States, and it is a charity show, so I'm giving them a little bit of leeway when it comes to that. But just because it's a charity show doesn't mean that it has to be like a bad one either. And it doesn't mean that this is going to be bad. Like, I am underwhelmed with this, but most of the people that are here have proven themselves as talented in the ring at the very least, even if I have no buzz that I'm feeling about them. So I'm kind of blah, leaning more towards, I honestly actually feel more interested in the Evolve show. But how are you guys feeling?
So as of now, I am penciled to go. That might change, but I doubt it. I'm a little disappointed in the card. This is coming likely from a very selfish place of, it's the first major wrestling show I bought tickets to in well over a decade. I was hoping for a Chris Jericho match, and when I saw Jon Moxley get announced for the promotion, I was hoping I'd see him here as well. And then you couple that with, you have matches like Adam Page and Kip Sabian, and not that there's anything wrong with Kip Sabian, but it seems like a given that Adam Page will win, and it seems like this is a weird stopgap between now and All Out that I wasn't expecting to come after what was a major show with Fyter Fest. I thought Fyter Fest would be pretty low key, but it was almost as big of a production as Double or Nothing. And now you have this show coming right after, and it just feels a little on the bland side when you consider that this is a promotion that automatically assumed the number 2 slot in North America.
I don't think there's anything wrong in terms of the matches that we've been handed in terms of what the quality will end up being. The fact that there's 6 is probably the bigger issue. But we've grown up with, well, especially in the last few years, we've been built around the idea of most pay-per-view cards will have 9-10 matches on them, and they'll go 3 to 4 hours long. Whereas at least this one, if it stays at 6 matches, probably wrapped up in 2.5 hours at the most. But I don't think it's unlikely that other matches will be added as time goes on that just won't be announced ahead of time. It'll just be something that it's a charity show, it's a free show. So you don't, if you've got the matches out there that are there to promote the show and draw people in, it doesn't really matter if you add other matches on that people weren't expecting at the first place, because that just is an added bonus for them.
I'm hoping that they don't add any more matches. As much as I'm underwhelmed with the card, I want this to kind of just go by and just kind of make it shorter. Because, let's be honest, I mean, there's certain things that are work and certain things that are fun. I tweeted about this a little bit earlier. But I am going to find it really difficult to do 3 pay-per-views in one weekend over the course of, I mean, essentially, if you think about it, when they start, they're going to start at like 7 o'clock or whatever it is. It's just going to be a 36-hour period or whatever with 3 events. That's a lot to do. And that's not a fault of AEW's, because 2 of those are WWE's and they have no control over WWE's and stuff. But at the same time, that makes it hard for me to want to do that as a fan. And it makes it really hard for me to do that for my job. And I would much rather this show be on a week without something like that, and I'd be able to put more of an investment into it. So now, if they were to add 4 more matches onto the card or something, I would have to find graphics for all those, add all that into all of my stuff that I had prepared ahead of time, because I'm writing a Bleacher Report article, I'm doing any wrestling news article, I'm doing a podcast post-show, there's a lot of work that goes into when they change one match on a card, let alone if they add matches on a pay-per-view. And I'd rather this be 2.5 hours and just kind of be 6 matches and you just go through with it and that's the end of it. And it's just like, yeah, it's a bonus show and it's for charity at the end of it, than for them to try to make it as big as All Out. You know?
So on CBSSports.com, the start time has the buy-in at 7:30 again, which is, I guess, odd to me, just starting at the half, and the full show starting at 8:30. The tickets, which are obviously wrong, say the event will only go until 9, and I would like a 1.5 hour, 2-hour show, and just keep it light.
I think there's nothing wrong with having this be a lighter show, especially since it's free for a lot of markets, cheaper
Light
for a
for the
lot of other
fall.
ones. Yeah, light for the fall. They just flicker the lights a bunch of times. Dark Order comes out. Match-wise, though, also, just in terms of trying to keep things shorter and everything, at least one of these matches, I'm going to have to say, should not go past more than a couple minutes, and that's Brandi Rhodes versus Allie.
Do you not want to do the 6-man first? That's on the that's
I
on the
thought
buy-in.
I thought that was taken off the buy-in.
Was it? Well, you would know more, so go
I
right
might know
ahead.
more. I might not. I don't know. Why not? Let's just go with Brandi Rhodes and Allie for the hell of it. It's not going to be the first match on the night.
Long. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like I'll go first and bite the bullet. This should be 6 minutes long. This should almost be the equivalent of like Michelle McCool versus Eve Torres. Like, I nothing against either one of them. Allie tries very hard, and I love Brandi Rhodes, but I just don't see this going that long.
Let's face it, Brandi Rhodes is not a wrestler. She's not going to put on some 5-star match.
Well,
she has trained more. She's better now than what she was when she would try to do anything in WWE at the time when she was there as God, what was her name in WWE?
Eden Styles.
Eden Styles. I was going to call her Evelyn something. I'm like, that's not right. It's
her
better
build up
now.
To the show, though, is her really wanting to be good in the ring and talking about how when she was a figure skater, she would constantly stop herself from, reaching her potential because of her anxieties, and she really wants wrestling to work out for her, so she wants to give it her all.
Which makes me nervous that this is going to be some 15, 20-minute, I'm going to prove that I'm a good wrestler type thing, and if that doesn't work out, it's going to be horrible, But
it's very sympathetic for somebody who has Awesome Kong in her back pocket. Yeah. I assume we're going to see Awesome Kong here.
I think I can't say I'm like overly excited about the match, but Brandi has gotten a lot better in the last couple of years. I do think that the idea of her having a super powerful spear, because she had a shoulder surgery, so she essentially has like a bionic shoulder by the announcers calling it, is probably a bit far-fetched, but I guess there have been worse, more egregious examples like the metal plate in Lex Luger's arm and stuff like that.
I liked that back in the day.
And Allie's a good wrestler. I don't think having this match go on for a while is like going to be like just send the show into a free fall, because I think both of them can work reasonably well. They'll probably throw a few bells and whistles into there to just make up for any shortcomings, but I would be more excited looking forward to this match than I am the handicap match at Extreme Rules or things along those lines, or most matches that we get week to week on Raw and SmackDown, because most, especially the women's matches, but pretty much every match now on Raw and SmackDown at the moment is going about 2-3 minutes long and being restarted 3 times. So it's like, I can't really complain if this goes 10 minutes and it's fairly decent.
And to quell anybody that's going to drop a comment below and be like, you're only crapping on this because it's a women's match. To be perfectly honest, I'm going to talk about this in a few minutes. I have no interest in Kenny Omega versus Cima either. So
I was going to more temper the idea of people saying, oh, you've just dropped the comparisons to WWE. I watch what I watch, essentially, and I have to just judge based on these sort of things. I watch a fair amount of WWE stuff. I watch very much as any wrestling promotions I can do. And there are definitely going to be better women's matches going on this weekend than Brandi Rhodes versus Allie in many other promotions.
Shotzi Blackheart, if they put it on at the same time, by the way, that's cruel. Because Shotzi Blackheart versus
Brandi Lauren.
Brandi Lauren, thank you, will be better than this match, because Shotzi Blackheart is better than either one of these two.
Yeah, in the ring. It'd be cruel to put that match on at the same time. It's almost like, I don't know, a huge promotion putting on their show at the same time as a charity event going. I mean, they would never do, but no one would ever do that because they're not like heartless bastards, essentially. So,
I love it.
But I can't say like this match is going to be like you say, it's not going to be a 5-star classic. But I don't assume that it's going to be. I'm not going to go in thinking it's going to be a 5-star classic. I just think this is a good opportunity to show how much Brandi has improved. And if the match stinks, then clearly Brandi needs more development, because I wouldn't level the blame on Allie, because I've seen enough of Allie to know that she's perfectly good in the ring.
Well, see, as a relative outsider to a lot of these kind of elements, like I have not followed Allie in Impact, and I've not followed Brandi's progression over the past bunch of years, and some different things like that. So there is an element of just kind of a little bit of question marks, but I did see Allie versus Leva Bates, and I was not a fan of that match compared to a lot of other things. I did like it more than the triple threat match, but right now, AEW is not winning me over on the women's division. There's been 4 matches that I've seen, 2 at Double or Nothing, 2 at Fyter Fest, and I don't remember really liking any of them. I mean, one of them I really didn't like. One of them I thought pretty much sucked. Another one I thought was overrated, and the other one I don't remember pretty much anything about except for the entrances, which was the Kylie Ray and Britt Baker and all that. Like, I don't really remember anything about it. So the best that they've had out of 4 matches so far has been, it's interesting, Awesome Kong's out there. That's not a good sign, you know?
Well, yeah, I can understand that assessment, but like in my opinion, based on look at those matches, I look at the 2 matches Double or Nothing, and I think, yeah, the women's division is going to be perfectly fine, because I saw that 6-way. I thought the 6-woman tag. I thought that was the best match on the show. I saw the fatal 4-way and full. Britt Baker and Kylie Ray could carry this division on their shoulders, and Nyla Rose has enough about her that if she does start to get the pieces together, she could be a very dominant force. And obviously, Awesome Kong is a legend. But then you obviously see the 2 matches from Fight for the Fallen, and neither of them impressed me. So it's going to be hit or miss. Like Fyter Fest.
So there you go. Change your name.
Yeah. But it's just the idea of, like, at the Fyter Fest one, those 2 matches didn't impress me, and it's going to be hit or miss, like a lot of promotions have to deal with. Not every match is going to be a winner. I have watched enough of Alley in Impact Wrestling. The split personality gimmick is a little bit becoming a little overplayed on when you see it on many other channels and many other promotions doing that side of things. And I think it will only really come into its own if Rosemary does end up signing with AEW after leaving Impact Wrestling, if she does end up leaving Impact Wrestling.
So what's the story about all that? Allie's got a split personality gimmick?
Well, essentially it's the idea of the story that was bringing together Rosemary and Allie as a tag team, because they have a tag team on the independent circuit known as Demon Bunny, where Rosemary is obviously a demon-like character that listens to the Hive and all that other stuff, and Allie is a bunny rabbit, essentially, a very cute, innocent girl. And it's the idea that when Rosemary was taken away in Impact Wrestling, and essentially she was suffering an injury, so they had the storyline of her being like stolen away by James Mitchell and Sue Young and all those people, that Allie would try and summon the spirit of Rosemary to fight them. It's a very convoluted, it's very Undertaker, like 94, 93 type storyline. But a lot of people really dug it, and it was a very interesting story. It had a very good, like, melodramatic feel to it. And if you're into that sort of thing, I'm sure you would have found that fantastic. But it was a bit too corny on my side of things, but I can't hamper it due to the reaction that it got, because it got a good reaction. But obviously now Rosemary's not there, Allie's on her own, she has to forge her own kind of niche. And I didn't know if I was too much of a fan of seeing the elements of, she gets beaten up a little bit in the match with Leva Bates, and then she starts going crazy and starts winning back things. I just think, I think you need to change the gimmick back to something different now. That's just me, though.
Yeah, I don't think... I got the impression that she will not be doing any bit of the split personality with the demon side of the Demon Bunny. I think she's just going to be Allie, where she's not as, perky as Kylie Ray, but a very middle of the card female, like
Natty.
Yeah, Natty.
No, I think Allie's a very high contender for the first championship.
Really?
She's got the biggest brand value coming out of, in terms of star value for the women's side of things. Her and Awesome Kong essentially are the 2 big ones. I mean, Britt Baker's good, but Britt Baker's like not exactly well known outside of like she appeared in the. Did she appear in the Mayan Classic?
No,
No,
she's
but
only
she was
wrestled
there.
in NXT.
Oh, she wrestled in NXT a few times, and obviously she's known for being Adam Cole's girlfriend. Obviously, she had a great match at All In. She won the match at Double or Nothing, so she definitely will be up there. But in terms of just like brand value, and people would say, "Oh, I remember Allie" or something like that. Then those two have much more star value.
See, I've got it as Britt Baker is the number one babyface, Kylie Ray right underneath, and then you've got Awesome Kong and Nyla Rose on the heel side. I don't even have Allie anywhere in contention when you factor in the Joshi women.
But yeah, but are you judging that based on how much you like them in the ring, as opposed to how much in terms of actual star power they have?
I'm 100% judging that on how they work in the ring, because that is their whole shtick with AEW. They're the wrestling heavy company. Let's talk about this. The person who does the women's side of AEW is Kenny Omega. So he's all ring work.
I think Omega values showmanship as much as ring work.
But even just when it comes to character-wise, this is something that throws me off. They have not really been doing this heel and face dynamic, which can be refreshing at times, but at the same time, I think that it's problematic in a lot of other ways. And watching the road to Fight for Fallen, it's very much just like Brandi Rhodes has gone through some stuff and you should cheer for her. And it's like, well, that throws me off, you know? I mean, you have to go one way or the other to me. I feel like AEW is in a spot right now where they're trying to do two sides of two extremes, and they're not committing to either of them, which is making both of those aspects weak. Which is, if you want to be a sport-based team, league, whatever, you have to abandon all storyline like that. Like, you can't really position people as heels and faces, and with pro wrestling, that's difficult to do because you do have people that are going to play heel and they're going to play babyface and everything. And it's weird in a scenario like this where it's like, if I were to watch this and this was my first event in any capacity, I would assume Allie would have to do something heelish in the match. And they don't have to. Like, we've had babyface versus babyface matches. We've had heel. We've had heel face turns like Austin and Bret Hart. But that throws me off because now it's like, all right, well, 2 events ago, Brandi Rhodes is bringing in Awesome Kong and she's acting like a real bitch. And Fyter Fest, everybody's all having fun. And now Fight for the Fallen's charity thing. And I'm kind of all over the place looking at this as like Stephanie McMahon versus Bayley at the same time as I'm looking at it as the comeback story of Brandi Rhodes. At the same time, I'm looking at it as it doesn't fucking matter because it's just a charity event where these matches are just happening because they're just happening. And then I'm like, well, that's all of AEW. It's just happening because it's happening. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, there's nothing for me to sink my teeth into.
Well, I do agree with that assessment, essentially. The idea of this blurring of the heels and faces just isn't going to work. But then I'll go along the lines of saying that this is what every wrestling promotion is doing for the most part. Especially, again, I know I'll be drawing the comparisons again, but with WWE, like back in NXT, you'd have 1 week, just in the span of like one match, you'd have commentary talking about how Lacey Evans is like a former Marine and looks after her kids and like survived a hurricane or something along those lines. And then she'd be wrestling heel in the match. It's like this idea now that every single person has to be a role model and a hero, even if whether they're heel or babyface. You need to show the good side of them. So it leads to a lot of people especially on like social media age, people say, "Oh yes, Lacey Evans is the best to do that thing." When primarily 90% of people should be going, "Oh, Lacey Evans sucks. Lacey Evans is a heel," and maybe that is the case with someone like her, but with other people, it's so much more diametric, like saying, "Oh, you should be given much more chances." But no, she's a heel. You should just be hating her or him or whatever. The only 2 people in AEW and practically in the entire like North American wrestling landscape that actually say we're heels and we don't care If you tell us that we're going to do some sort of documentary on how we did this in our youth or anything like that, they'll say, fuck off, I just want to be hated. Oh, Chris Jericho and MJF.
And MJF, they've kind of messed that up too, because they did the whole thing with Cody Rhodes and him, and Cody Rhodes is being positioned as a babyface in a lot of ways. So they've already screwed up MJF like that.
I think the MJF thing is a very unique case, because as we'll go on to talk about on their match, the MJF one is very much he only likes Cody out of like all those people, because like essentially he's got this mentor storyline thing going on with Cody Rhodes. Like, he's the guy that brought him into AEW. He like Cody's always been a fan of his work, so he only likes him, and everyone else can just go fuck themselves. So as long as it's only built around this one guy, and then it ends up leading to a storyline where either MJF turns on Cody Rhodes or the other way around or whatever, then it should be interesting. But I agree that for most people, there seems to be too much of an idea of, again, like I said in previous podcasts we talked about AEW, it's very much a case of AEW is playing the babyface company right now because they have the ability to do so, because so many people are anti-WWE that they're just trying to make everybody like a feel-good factor, because that's what they want their whole company to be, is like, we're the anti-WWE. We're the people that are going to take wrestling away from what WWE has made it nowadays.
And I think with MJF, they're eventually building towards, yeah, I never really liked Cody. I was just, utilizing him because he is the EVP. So I think you'll see some of that, and at the end, he'll be a true heel. But for now, he is the one with the dynamic that works. But I want to just echo what Tony's saying, and that it's not going to work long term. They keep trying to do this thing, well, contextually this time, Cody's a babyface. Contextually. Because Brandi, if you look at the context, they framed her like a babyface who's got sympathy, but I think all of that's really a swerve, because she seems like the one who's going to manipulate the power on TV the most.
Yeah, I totally agree that long term it can't work, but I'm also under the impression right now that AEW hasn't really started yet, because it doesn't have a weekly television show. It doesn't even have a world champion at the moment. And so until those things are sorted out, I don't think these are just one-off shows. They're just there to just show this is the type of wrestling we're going to be producing. This is the type of like presentation that you're going to get, as opposed to the actual storyline development side of things.
And that's something that also needs to be put out there ahead of time. I'll say it now because it's going to factor in when it comes to October and everything. These one-off shows, I'm not super into, because they don't have anything for me to sink my teeth into. Yet, I'm doing the coverage for these and stuff because they're big news, and I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. There's elements of these two shows, that the past ones, that I've liked, and there's some that I haven't. So, they're trying to figure themselves out. I'm trying to figure out what they've got going on. If they bring in this TV show, and if I start seeing a TV show that reminds me of Impact Wrestling, you're not going to see as much coverage of AEW on Smark at the moment, because if this is just Impact eventually, I can't dedicate the time to it. Fuck that. And if they continue with this whole, let's toss out I'm thinking Brandi wins. You guys thinking Brandi too?
Brandi.
It makes more sense for the supposed heel to win the first one.
So, to move on from that, I'm going to bring this in and kind of transition this way. Kenny Omega versus Cima. This is a match that people are going crazy over on some message boards and some different Reddit threads and stuff that I'm seeing. And I honestly do not care, because Kenny Omega's a good wrestler, sure. I haven't really seen anything from Cima that I've been interested in. He just seems like any other guy. Like, you can have Kenny Omega versus Jack Evans. You could have him against Trent Beretta. Like, it's just, they're just placeholder names to me, because everybody just wrestles this sort of same style of, I'm going to do my flip, and I'm going to do my hurricanrana, I'm going to do my kicks, and I'm going to do my suicide dives. And I'm already on 3 events way past the point of that doesn't mean anything to me. If I wanted to watch a stunt show, I'd watch a stunt show, and I'm not getting anything out of that. So if we just get Kenny Omega versus Cima is the baseline template of what AEW going forward is going to be, I'm not going to find it something that I'm going to want to watch on TV every week, you know?
I'm sorry to be that guy, because I'm turning into that guy, but what the fuck are you watching week to week on WWE that's so different in every single match?
Well, WWE sucks, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but it is still the main thing.
Yeah, I know it's the main thing, and I know we can't stop watching it because whether we would want to, we don't want to. It's not trying to change, but I get the feeling now that people just aren't willing to accept that this is what wrestling is now. Like this stunt show thing, this is what happens in every promotion worldwide. Unless you're like, obviously New Japan has a very like similar sort of style. Obviously you got the Lucha style is probably the most markedly different out of all of them. But you got a sense of like all this stuff is like it's an athleticism event now. This is what they do in the independent circuit. This is what they do in AEW. It's what they mostly do in WWE and NXT, basically anywhere. They're just matches that are there that do have some sort of storyline aspect to them a lot of the time, but it's a lot of just guys doing flips and dives and a lot of other elements like that. And AEW has demonstrated that that's basically the format they're going to fall down because that's their bread and butter. That's what they've done on the independent circuit for all of their years. And it's what Ring of Honor people did, and that's why you see so much more of in WWE, because so many of their alumni are from Ring of Honor. So it's probably not the way that we want things going forward, because we do want to see disparity and difference. But I mean, that's why I see like the Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes match from Double or Nothing. That felt different.
Yeah, that's what I like. I want to see more of a variety. Like NXT is the show that I enjoy the most, and NXT does have a little bit of the type of matches that we would get with like Omega and Cima, but we do have other things like, you know, some character work.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that that's like it's definitely not the like a carbon copy situation. I just think that the issue is that there's an unfamiliarity still with some of these characters, and essentially there's not enough time in the day to try and keep up with everything. And we'll only become more familiar with these characters and start seeing a bit more of the nuances of their characters and their personality traits and differences in the ring when we start seeing them week to week on a week-to-week basis.
That's where I'm really hoping that they come into the mix.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I in terms of like message boards going crazy about this match, they're going crazy because it's Kenny Omega, and this is his second singles match in AEW. The first match with Jericho was, I mean, it was a good match. It definitely didn't live up to the expectation of their first one. And I agree with you that Cima hasn't shown anything to be in any way spectacular. But working with Kenny Omega in a one-on-one situation forces the other guy to up his game, because you're wrestling Kenny Omega, who under most situations is a top 5 wrestler in the world right now. But I think this one will be as formulaic an Omega match you can get. Maybe Cima does show something which just causes me to just sit up and go, okay, this guy came to play, essentially. This guy could be a solid upper mid-card guy in AEW. But, and again, it doesn't help with the fact that it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Kenny Omega wins this one as well.
Oh, 100% he has to win this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Cima won at Fyter Fest. Shima's team lost at Double or Nothing. He's 1-1. If they want to do this whole, you know, numbers game type of thing, then Cima can lose because he's not as big of a star. Kenny Omega lost at Double or Nothing. He won at Fyter Fest, so he's 1-1. Somebody has to take a loss, and Cima is not getting booked into one of the big top 3 matches of All Out. So it's like, you know, it has to be a Kenny Omega, unless Jon Moxley comes in and causes him to lose.
He'll
be in Japan, yeah.
Which, exactly. So Kenny Omega wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of one of those things that bothers me a little bit too, because then it's like, all right, well, I already know Kenny Omega's going to win, and I have nothing to really get invested in with Cima. And if I didn't watch this match, everybody would tell me it's the best thing in the world anyway. So if I didn't have to review it, like to actually actively watch and review it, I could just skip it and find out, yeah, okay, Kenny Omega won, and not have to have seen it. And if the show becomes that, where it's just you can watch them do their stuff and whatever, then that's the end of it, and that there's no, like, storyline, or there's some kind of, like, weight to anything, or whatever that case may be. If it's just numbers games and stuff, then it's kind of the same as if you're watching, like, baseball, and you're like, oh, I don't need to see every single baseball game. I could just see the ones that matter, and you know what I mean? Like that. I don't like that attitude going into an AEW show now, and that's what keeps happening with stuff like Omega and Cima. So I really want them to, in particular this match, to, like, blow me out of the water and to make me sit up in my chair and go, okay, I'm wrong. And they could. I mean, they very well could. But I don't think
so. You guys touched on a lot there, and I do want to echo a little bit of what you both were saying. I agree with Tony that you do have this feeling of, okay, so right now, since they're not doing a lot of matches based on story, it's just how many flips can you hit. But I 100% back Callum in saying, well, what the fuck is WWE doing? It's all like, well, this is a great athletic match. I say a lot, every Raw has what would have been a match of the year contender 5 years ago.
Yeah.
With Cima, the reason he gets a lot of praise is because he's 41 years old. He's around the same age as AJ Styles. 15, 16 years ago, he was the Japanese guy at the Ring of Honor shows that was making everybody shit their pants because he was so good. Can he still deliver that with Omega? I'm hoping, because like I said, I may very well be attending this thing. I was very disappointed, full disclosure, when I heard that the Omega match I'd be watching was a one-on-one with Cima, mostly because, again, feels like such a foregone conclusion. It feels like there's no real tension here. It's like, all right, if Cima does anything, I'm just expecting Omega to kick out, and there will only be the shock value if Omega doesn't. But Omega has to win here because, like you guys have said, he's in the semi-main event of All Out. So I'm going with Omega. I hope they over-deliver. But yes, I can't wait till they get TV and they can start building up matches in a better way.
Really quick plug for anybody that's tuning in, and obviously if you're listening, then you are. That's really stupid of me to say that. If you would like to make sure that we do more AEW coverage in the future, the Patreon is the best thing to motivate me to be able to have the time to be able to do things like that. So patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. If you donate $1, $5, $20, $300,000, whatever the case may be. If you're a Tony Khan and you want to make sure that I do coverage on here, toss $1 billion my way. I mean, I'm not going to shoot it down. Then change Smark Out Moment to AEW Moment or whatever. I'll do it. There's also the merchandise shops on TeePublic and Redbubble for you to pay attention to if you want to pick up some t-shirts or different things like that. Yeah, so I hate to go from that to something else that I'm going to be down on, but I figure why not? Just to get this out of the way. Hangman Page versus Kip Sabian. This is the type of match that it's just a thing. Hangman Page has to win, or else he looks bad going into All Out. And since I'm not tied into Kip Sabian just being like, oh man, I can't wait to see his next match, or Hangman Page for that matter, it's not like Undertaker Sting, where I'm like, you know what, you sold me just by saying it's happening. Even if it's not going to be a great match, you sold me because it's happening. This is Hangman Page and Kip Sabian. It's the equivalent to me, in my perspective, of being like, we're going to advertise Seth Rollins versus Curtis Axel or something. Now, Kip Sabian seems like he's better in the ring than Curtis Axel. That's not a comparison in that, but it's just sort of like a Monday Night Raw type of match and stuff. And again, this is a charity show. It's a free show for people in the United States. It's not something that's like they're all out. But just because that is like, well, let me give it a little bit of credit for this and a little bit of credit for that and a little bit of credit for that. Well, doesn't mean that I'm gonna go apeshit over it either, you know? WWE does that for main event, and I don't fucking watch main event. So I'm not paying attention to No Way Jose versus Connor from the Ascension. Where's the hook on Adam Page versus Kip Sabian, other than, you don't get it, these guys are so good in the ring and they're gonna have such a great match? Because I'm hearing that for every single fucking match.
So here's where I will try, and perhaps Calum as well, to try to emphasize educate you, and also try to emphasize the importance of Adam Page, which I think took a huge hit when Pac was not able to do his match. And Adam Page is right now their top singles babyface. I would even argue, because of how he's being positioned right now, over Omega and Cody, because he's the one member of the Elite that's not an EVP, whose strict focus is bell-to-bell action. Adam Page needs to win this match. I feel bad for Kip Sabian because you just compared him to Curtis Axel, and yes, he's going to be treated like that for now because of the position he's in. Maybe it'll be a great match, but kind of like the Kenny Omega match, Adam Page has to win here, unless, because Jericho will be there with a live mic, unless they want to have Jericho distract Adam Page, and then it's, well, Kip Sabian won, so he'll get a mandatory title shot on the first All Elite Wrestling show, so the champion, whomever that may be, can have a strong win.
I hope they don't do that, because that sounds very, again, don't say like WWE booking, that just sounds like crap booking. To have one of the number one contenders lose on the way going in just because he was a stupid babyface and got distracted. You shouldn't do that under any circumstances. In terms of this actual match, I tend to lean towards more Tony's way of thinking in regards to, this is just a match which you should be watching because it could be a really good match. And I haven't seen a lot of Kip Sabian, but for what I have seen, he's very good in the ring. Adam Page, I think, is great. A very high ceiling for him. But in terms of just actual drawability, it doesn't have that pull for me. I would say that I would echo Rob's statement in the idea that when I think AEW looks at Adam Page, they see the future of the wrestling business. Like, they see the guy who's going to be carrying the AEW banner at the 3, 4, 5 year mark.
They're John Cena, essentially.
Yeah, essentially. But just the top guy of the company, and obviously they'd have Omega there still, hopefully, and Cody and all these other guys around. But Adam's like, Page is the one who's not at their level just yet, but they think, but being part of AEW will push him to that level. And I definitely think they have a huge amount of stock in him. Kip Sabian, I don't think will ever really. I mean, I may be entirely wrong by saying that. He's a young guy. He might reach that level at some point, but right now I just don't see it because I don't know him that well. So that's more on my fault of being ignorant to his ability as opposed to just him not being at that level. So my only hope is that this match is good, because you want to see Adam Page looking strong and going into All Out with a win and a good performance under his belt.
So Adam Page is 27.
Mm.
And I didn't know this. MJF is 23.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have some very good young talent there.
I thought that Page was like 32, and at least MJF was 29, 30, if not, I don't know.
No, he's young. Like he's younger than me, and he's younger than Cal. Like, that's how young he is. I mean,
you look at Darby Allin. Darby Allin's 21, 22.
Well, Darby Allin looks young to me.
Oh, he does, yeah.
But and, you know what, though? Like,
like Jungle Boy's obviously not 45.
Maybe being an asshole just adds 5 years to your actual age.
I just assumed that he was like 30.
It's because he carries himself like a cocky bastard that's like been around for a bit.
Yeah, like MJF being 23, that's crazy. And Page being 27, like, I mean, obviously that is going to be a main event of some kind of major show a year or so from now. Like,
oh yeah, I think the Page thing being 27 is probably a bit more surprising for people because he's been in the in the Bullet Club and the Elite for many years quite a few years at this point. And so the fact that he's still only 27 and he's been positioned in that sort of stable for so long is probably a testament to how much they value this guy, that they saw his raw potential at such a young age.
Kip Sabian's 27. I mean, like, obviously they need to put some kind of an investment on people that are going to stick it around longer and all that.
But, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's another foregone conclusion type thing. Page wins unless Jericho does something to screw him over, which I don't think that they should do because of the same reasons. I think it was Callum that had said, like, you don't want to have your guy going in there being like, oh, I was an idiot. I lost. Like,
it's
he
just unnecessary.
needs another win. And it's like, well, if he needs a win, is this Kip Sabian thing going to really change my perspective of Hangman Page? Not really.
No, I think it's more the match with Jericho that will probably shape, his perspective in many people's eyes. Because obviously there'll be a lot more eyes on All Out as well, I assume, compared to Fight for the Fallen. And this is just a match to just be a bit more of a showcase for Adam Page. It's just to be hopefully primarily on offense, to do most of his stuff, give Kip Sabian a few hope spots and a few opportunities to shine. But for the most part, it should be a pretty comprehensive win for Page.
Hey, Rob, you're going Page as well?
Yeah, I just, like you guys said, I hope it's a good match. I hope Page looks strong because he needs to look as strong as possible going against a guy who's headlined WrestleMania. Let's put it out there who Chris Jericho is. Jericho's a major deal, and I just want Hangman to appear kind of on that level.
So now this match might be on the buy-in. It might not be. I'm not too sure yet. I'm seeing contradictory information all over the place. But they're not really calling it a 6-man tag team match. Like, I mean, they're not using some of the same terms that WWE is using, which I don't blame them. But, they've been going with, like, 3-way and 4-way instead of fatal 4-way because WWE might not even be able to let people do that. They might own the terms and stuff. But whatever case, it is a 6-man tag team match, functionally. Jimmy Havoc, Darby Allin, and Joey Janela against MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Shawn Spears. Question number 1. Is MJF going to be on this team with Shawn Spears specifically to have them lose because they can't get along?
100%.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way they'd go with it.
Question number 2. If they don't do that, are they fucking stupid?
Oh, yeah, obviously. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if they don't do that. That's the point of putting these two together. I think... again, I'm not a huge fan long-term of the tag team partners that can't get along concept, because that has definitely been overplayed. Like, in the right circumstances, it can work pretty well when you have, like, an MVP Matt Hardy feud or something along those lines. But it has to be built up over time. It needs to click with the right people. And obviously, we know that it's almost certainly, if it hasn't already been booked, Shawn Spears against Cody at All Out.
It has to. I mean, it's not official yet, but it has to.
Yeah, but I don't think he necessarily has to win this match for that to happen, because obviously he's already got the chair shot to the head drama or all things surrounding it. So it's obvious that's what direction they're heading. He doesn't need to win that match for that match to happen, because that's a grudge match now.
Yeah.
But
I understand that they're trying to showcase as much talent as humanly possible. But I think they were better off just going MJF Shawn Spears here. I think there would have been more personal investment, and I don't want to keep harping on this because I think Tony's done it enough, but you can't just go, but we have to showcase our guys because our guys are the best. It's like, yeah, but everybody puts on good matches now. Give me MJF and Shawn Spears, going in to fight for to All Out, because this will be a good storytelling device.
But
I'm actually going to disagree with that.
Yeah, I completely disagree with that.
Oddly enough, as much as I make the argument against AEW with some of these other kind of things, I like that they're doing this 6-man tag if they follow the procedure that I think that they should, which is, I'm going to harp on these match win-loss records until they prove me wrong, but if they make it a point to make wins and losses matter, Jimmy Havoc has lost twice. Darby Allin was a draw. Joey Janela has lost twice. MJF has technically lost twice. Shawn Spears has lost once because he didn't wrestle at Fyter Fest. and Sammy Guevara has only lost once. I would think you need, if they're looking at Darby Allin as somebody who they wanted to protect with that draw, and Joey Janela is somebody who mid-card range, they clearly want to push in some fashion, but he's not going to be their world champion the next person after whoever the first one is. Shawn Spears can't lose. MJF has lost enough that he can't lose. But Sammy Guevara can lose for the team, and it doesn't look all that bad. And if you want to give the win to the quote-unquote baby faces, even though this is like the two emo kids and the guy who wants to piggyback off of Superhuman a little bit, I feel like this has to be everybody gets their moment to shine. MJF and Shawn Spears argue with each other. Sammy Guevara tries to get them to work on the same page. Darby Allin or whoever pins Sammy Guevara. And if they would have gone with MJF against Shawn Spears, one of them would have had to look weak to be able to push the Cody Rhodes thing going forward, which means MJF would have to lose, and he'd be the lower end of two different feuds, the Page one and the Spears and Rhodes thing.
See, I think had they done the one-on-one, either way, I don't see MJF officially getting pinned or submitted for quite some time, so I think they would have just done a DQ or something to get out of that. And with this match, like you said, MJF isn't losing because his whole thing is, wins and losses matter, and guess what? I haven't lost. I have yet to actually lose a match.
Yeah, he can't take the pin here.
No, but that's what I was going to say with Tony, that I completely agree with the 6-man tag concept, because essentially you've got two people that won't want to tag each other, so you can't have them as like just a plain tag team match because they won't want to get involved with each other. So MJF can get into the ring by tagging Guevara. Guevara can get in like tagging Spears, and then Guevara's like the middle point between all of them. And then eventually he has to play peacemaker when MJF and Shawn Spears get in each other's face, and that causes him to lose to one of the other guys, which presumably Darby Allin, because they seem to have the most stock in him. But
yeah, and it almost doesn't matter who gets to win because those three are going to be Sammy Guevara one way or the other.
Oh yeah, the one thing for certain is that Sammy Guevara is taking the loss on this one.
He has to. If they don't do that, that's really stupid. Unless they've got some kind of like, this is where Chris Jericho comes in and he just interrupts things and it's some kind of weird thing, which I hope that they don't do that.
No,
this is very easy booking. Go with the easy thing.
Yeah, I think they need to give the baby faces something to look good because, like you say, Jimmy Havoc's 0-2, Joey Janela's 0-2, Darby Allin's yet to win. They need a win to look reasonably strong because MJF can go 0-3 and still recover because he's that strong of a character. Shawn Spears, it doesn't matter because he's going to be facing Cody anyway, All Out. And then he can be rebuilt over the course of the actual weekly television show. And Guevara is probably going to be a guy who's going to be featured in like the lower mid card to start with anyway, because like how old is he? He's only God doesn't even say his age.
Be on the younger end.
It doesn't even say his age on Wikipedia, so that's useful. But he's probably on the younger side of things. He looks like he's on the younger side, like on the right side of 30. So I'm pretty sure he's got more time to just build up and become a prominent name if he does.
He's 25.
Okay, so yeah, he's got plenty of time to like build up a character for himself.
How much? How many years is that in like Panda years or whatever he's dressed up as?
And then in that case, he's only 20.
Really quickly, let's just mention Chris Jericho is supposed to be cutting a promo. They've clarified it as he's got a live mic, which is like, all right. You think anything big's gonna happen? Anything interesting? I don't.
He'll just get into a brawl with Page. He'll say something and get into a brawl with Page.
I think he'll try to let an F-bomb fly. Because that's his thing right now, is he's the only definitive heel, and he's bringing the edge. I don't know if he'll have the entire edge that he brings with him to New Japan, but he'll bring a little bit of it, and he'll try to get the thank you. Paige will come out and say, these people don't owe you shit, and they'll brawl, and that'll be their final physical altercation before All Out.
Is he going to bring the Christian too?
Yeah, fucking hell. That was what I was about to say. You fucking jumped in. I said if he's not bringing all the edge, then is he bringing Christian instead? It's fucking.
Had to.
Well, he's got the Young Bucks with him.
Look, you think you know him, but he might not do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate how. Like, here's the thing. I don't think the show will be bad by any stretch of the imagination. It just doesn't seem important either.
No, it's just a.
And
it
that's for
feels like
anybody who
stuff.
wants to drop a comment. That's not saying that charity isn't important either.
No,
It's
yeah,
just a
Oh my
matter of-
god. Oh my god, no.
No, but people like
No.
to twist everything that everybody says
but it-
now. We could say something like, "Hi, everybody, welcome to Smark moment," and they'd be like, "I'm offended." Like, it's just
It feels like a B show.
yeah, it's very much a B show, and
Yeah.
that's fine too.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like
free for the North Americans. It's like it's not a terrible thing
yeah,
to have a show which is slightly less exciting, especially 2 weeks after you've had your previous show. And this is just like a special charity event that they're televising. It's like,
But I do want to go back and ask you guys, we're all in agreement MJF is the future of wrestling, right?
I mean,
he
he has to
should
be if
be
he's 23 at this point. Goddamn.
yeah, I mean,
What do you think they do with him in Chicago?
they need to give him a win against somebody.
I was gonna try to figure something out about that, and the more that I think about it, I mean, we've got Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. We've got Page and Jericho, Rhodes and Spears. A tag team match with the bye that goes into the first round of a tournament that, all the kind of fucking crazy things that go along with that. And I think that's it, right? That's the only 4 things that are kind of confirmed.
Yeah, right now.
Which, by the way, I don't know why Fight for the Fallen doesn't have another tag team match to determine who the other things are for that bye thing. That seems like that
Maybe
should have been
they'll
a
throw
given.
that in where it'll be SCU, and that's the step for the SCU Lucha Bros match.
Maybe. That would make sense. It should be, at the very least.
Wait, it shouldn't be that match because SCU
Oh, wait, no,
had
the
their
SCU
opportunity at the
yeah, they
at the
already
bye.
But
did.
not that unit of SCU.
Yeah, that unit SCU. It's Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky in this match.
Oh yeah, Daniels isn't working? Okay,
Yeah.
then never mind.
I tell you what, if they want to play around with that, they could say that and then have the Lucha Bros win, and then have Lucha Bros versus Best Friends, and then later on in the tournament, SCU is in the tournament anyway, and do something like that. But the more I think about it, the more I look at the possible options, because they also have other people that they can bring into the mix too with All Out that don't have to be on the quote-unquote roster. But I think it's going to be maybe Joey Janela versus MJF.
I'm thinking, thinking Joe Janela or Darby Allin.
See, I kind of have a weird thing where I think Janela and Allin should get into an issue with each other. But thinking that over real quick, what about a one-on-one match between MJF and Dustin? Like, you do a thing where Shawn Spears gets involved in the tag match, and then Dustin's trying to look after Cody, and MJF is getting super possessive. Like, you weren't even around for him. Let me be there for him because you never knew how to be. And then you can get into the Dustin can just say, well, you're a disrespectful little shit. And he can go, well, I was like 4 when you were on TV. Get out of here. Just do something with that.
I don't think Dustin's wrestling at All Out. A little bit of spoiler, I think Shawn Spears has taken him out at Fight for the Fallen.
I think Dustin should because he's got some star power, and I think they need all of it that they can get.
Well, they don't need it now. The show's sold out.
That is true.
Well, I guess for the people buying the pay-per-view.
I don't think Dustin being on or off the show is going to add any bias to it.
No, not really.
Not to discredit Dustin Rhodes in any way, but I don't think he's moving the needle in any way.
The money match was already the one with Cody.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
You have the title match, you have the match with Cody, and you have the match with his money match. I mean, like in terms of All Out, the money match is Omega against Moxley, and that's kind of really all you need.
Yeah, I meant like the one match. If anybody could have gotten the one match that they wanted from Dustin in AEW, it was him against Cody.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
since
And
they
they've
already did that,
so-
it's already out
And
of the
I
way.
would
You don't have to
argue
worry about
that
it.
this is the other only money match you could have gotten with Dustin. But I also think it's good for MJF. MJF deserves a high level feud.
So we quickly talked about it. SoCal Uncensored is Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky against Lucha Brothers, Pentagón Jr. and Rey Fenix. No stipulation to it, no attachment to the body round, none of that kind of stuff. But maybe they'll add something to it. I don't know. I think Lucha Bros have to win. They lost their previous 2 matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
It's also like the charity show usually would have the baby faces going over. I think they want to preserve Lucha Brothers as like the team alongside the Bucks, even though, like I said on previous ones, they shouldn't be fighting on every single show going forward because that would become tiresome very quickly. But Lucha Brothers should always be in and around the title picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it for that one. I mean, this sounds like kind of brushing that aside, but it's like, that's what it is. Match should be good. The end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that kind of thing. Match should be overrated probably as well, too, by certain people.
Oh, yeah, certain people will, but it should also be reasonably fun. I mean, I certainly haven't seen anything from Kazarian or Sky to make me think that they're not going to be able to keep up with the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, and I mean, if this is going to be a 19-star out of 5 match thing, it's going to be ridiculous, but, whatever.
Hey, Okada's not involved.
Speaking of star ratings, if you are on iTunes and stuff, give us a little rating over there. Rank us 5 out of 5, because why not? That
7
helps.
stars for you Japanese listeners.
Yeah, do that, Meltzer. We have one more match. That is what I'm assuming is probably going to be the main event. The Young Bucks against Cody and Dustin Rhodes. Love how they do the whole, like, Cody, Brandi, Rhodes, and stuff like that. Like, that'll do the same thing. Cody and Dustin Rhodes and whatever. This is very much just a bunch of people having a match because there's no storyline to it, because Young Bucks are obviously friends with Cody. Cody's tight with Dustin. And I really feel like it's just sort of happening to happen, which to a certain extent is fine. But I think if they don't do something with Shawn Spears attacking Dustin, it's going to be a missed opportunity.
I mean, Shawn Spears should get involved in certain aspects, in some aspects of this match, which is why I'm going for the Young Bucks to win. He should. I know I said earlier about the distraction finish being bad for the Adam Page situation, but I think in this case it can kind of work as long as he's either taking out Dustin Rhodes or he's just attacking. I'd almost be okay, even though I don't like the idea of DQ finishes on pay-per-views or big shows, to end this match on DQ as long as Shawn Spears just goes crazy. No steel chairs to the head, obviously, but just beats up both Cody and Dustin and then leaves them laying. I'm pretty okay with that. The most interesting aspect for this match for me is what are Cody and Dustin like as a team now? Because the last time they were a consistent tag team, they're pretty damn good.
Their match against the Shield was great.
Yeah, and their match together was fantastic. And this is a situation where Dustin doesn't have to be in the ring all the time. He can just come out for his big spots every now and again. But I can't deny the fact that I would pop huge if Dustin does his springboard crossbody thing. Like, if he can still do that at how old is he now, 50? That would be amazing. But so I'm just waiting for that spot to happen. And if they manage to get Dustin up for the Meltzer driver, that would also be an interesting thing. But I think this match could be pretty good.
I think this match will be great.
Go ahead.
It's the one match that I feel will be enjoyable and will make either the live viewing experience or even the pay-per-view experience something like you'll remember this match. But to me, this seems like it's just a tool for Shawn Spears to enter, and I wouldn't put it past Spears to lay out all 4 of them. The Young Bucks are close with Cody too. It's not like it's just I have a thing for Cody and maybe I'll attack his brother. Attack his fellow EVPs and best friends as well. That way you can maybe save this match for a rematch somewhere down the line, and you get more good storytelling in there. And as I was thinking about this match, I thought, well, what are the Young Bucks going to do in Chicago?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they don't really have anything like set up. I mean,
because
they could face the Lucha Brothers. We've never seen that before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they beat that one up already. You can't go there.
I mean, surely somebody's facing what they formerly called the Super Smash Brothers.
Well, the Dark Order thing, that could be the ones that go up against Best Friends.
Yeah.
Like, they could just kind of say, oh, you know, they picked them and they're going to have their match and whatever, and that's the winning team gets the bye and do that kind of a thing. Or,
I mean, we haven't seen Young Bucks against SCU yet in AEW, or I mean, a match with Angelico and Jack Evans would probably be pretty good, but it doesn't really have a huge amount of pizzazz.
I feel like because it's all out, it should have some kind of wow factor to it, you know?
Yeah, it shouldn't be the Young Bucks versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
No,
it should be like SCU or something.
Yeah, it needs to be something special. Maybe they can build that up over time in the lead up to it. I mean, there's still like a month and a half between this show and All Out, so there's plenty of time to build up a feud, even if it is online.
Well, I don't think that they're going to build up a feud. I think that they're just going to announce a match the way that they've been doing these things. It's just going to be like, Young Bucks, hey, we got to figure out something for All Out. Where we're going to wink at the camera and be like, why don't we face, I don't know, whoever, blah, blah.
What about they could do something like the Young Bucks Open Challenge and just face a team they're going to bring in?
Yeah, but the only issue I have with that is when you announce an open challenge, then it's like, they need to deliver, because if it's just SCU, then you've set yourself up for disappointment.
It'd be amazing if it was the Revival.
It'd be wonderful.
They just somehow managed to break out of their contracts and just turn off. But yeah, that's not
they
happen.
do what Impact did with Slammiversary. They have them wrestle with a mask on.
Oh, yeah.
No, that wasn't
God.
them.
That wasn't them.
That was a Rhino. That just happened to be a Rhino guy that looked like Rhino and did his
LAX.
thing. Well, the LAX thing, they could be going a lot of different ways.
But
and you know what's throwing me off about that? They're not LAX from what I'm familiar. The Homicide and Hernandez, yeah. So anytime somebody mentions LAX, I'm like, those guys are still around? It's like, oh no, it's just,
it's two younger guys with the mantle. But there's your match, actually. If they do that, I think a lot of people will be pleased.
What about Enzo and Cass? They're back on the indie.
Oh my god, no. Listen,
no, clearly that's Cass against or Enzo against Joey Janela, right?
Oh yeah, obviously.
They had that amazing fist fight.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one goes and the trajectories, because we obviously know where Cody's heading it All Out. It's the other people that are less clear on the situation.
So I'm linking. That's thinking and looking. I think Cody and Dustin win. And especially if this isn't necessarily the main event, or maybe they even want to end it like this, but I don't think that they're going to end. This is tough, because it's a charity show, but it's not really a charity show in the sense of like the tribute to the troops, where they're performing it in front of those people. So the proceeds still go, it's still whatever. It's weird if they end it this way. It's still a possibility where Cody and Dustin win, they're celebrating in the ring, and then that's when Shawn Spears attacks, and he really beats down Dustin more than Cody. That's why it's like sending a message. Dustin is out for All Out. Now it's even more personal, and you avoid the idea of the Young Bucks winning through some kind of distraction thing, because then that's kind of a shitty move to do when it's like your friend, to be like, oh, this guy beat the crap out of you and your brother and whatever. We're just going to be like, oh, let's get a quick roll up, like that. That seems kind of strange to me.
Oh yeah,
so, but the Young Bucks could just win and that just be whatever. But the Young Bucks have also won twice, so they can afford to lose.
I think they can afford to lose, but not against a makeshift team. If they do this, people are definitely going to come down on the idea of nepotism and, oh my god, really? You can't even the Bucks, who are your friends, you're going to have yourself beat?
Well, it's the other way around too. Nepotism, the Young Bucks are EVPs too. So
yeah, but
no matter what, like it's like, oh, you book yourself to be the only people that have won 3 times.
But they're also one of the only legit tag teams to build your division around.
Yeah, I kind of agree with the idea that the Young Bucks should be the ones to go 3-0 because they should be the big established tag team. I don't necessarily think they should be the first champions, but they should be the people that are fighting for the first championship. I think having Cody and Dustin win pretty much it doesn't totally negate the idea, but it does hurt the Young Bucks' status as the top tag team in the division, especially because I don't think Cody and Dustin will team up It's not like they'll team up and go for the tag team championships after this. I mean, they might do, but I think it's unlikely considering the fact that Cody's going to be on a singles feud going into All Out.
Yeah, but then again, if this is just like these are kind of almost non-canon shows, Cody and Dustin, they are a team that used to team up together. They are the whole brother type thing. It's brothers against brothers.
But if it's
charity show, like, you know, there's a lot of like wiggle room, I think.
If it's a non-canon show, then why have we been talking about win-losses records in the entire thing?
That's one of the problems.
I think that's maybe why they haven't begun doing that yet.
I don't think that's going to come like full into fruition in terms of like until the actual main show starts. But I still think that when push comes to shove, the Young Bucks, they want to protect the Young Bucks, and so they'll put them over in this one, while making Cody and Dustin look good in the process.
Rob, you going Young Bucks too?
I'm going Young Bucks all the way.
I'm going to be different. I'm going to go with Cody and Dustin. And I'm just going to, whether it's the main event or not, I'm going to say Spears attacks Dustin more than Cody even.
I can agree with that.
You know, why not?
Yeah.
And that's Fight for the Fallen as far as Wednesday night now at this point because it's 6 o'clock. But they might add some more matches. I don't know. We'll figure that out when it comes down to it. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that this is a pretty quick one. And if it's quicker, it'll be easier for me to digest it and to not be tired and to do all that kind of stuff too. So you'll be hearing a more happy post-show if that's the case. Unless the matches suck. But I don't think that this is really going to suck. I think it's going to be mediocre. Like middle of the road. If you missed it, you don't need to see it type. Or maybe it's going to be the best thing in the world. Who knows? Check out the post-show and the live coverage that are going to be happening on Saturday. And as I mentioned before, we're also going to be covering Evolve 131 in various capacities. I'm going to watch that after we get done with the post-show while I'm uploading all my other kind of stuff and doing multiple different articles and stuff at the same time. Then we will be breaking that down in the hot tags next week as far as like review sides for Evolve's 10th anniversary. And then the Extreme Rules pay-per-view is happening on Sunday, so we've got the post-show coming up with that. Of course, we have to break down our predictions for Extreme Rules first, so that is going to be the next thing that you're going to see on this YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. If you're doing that, you should go over to the Fanboys Anonymous YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and check out all the things that are happening on Fanboys. Follow the Facebook and Twitter, just as you would with Smark Out Moment, and stay tuned for those kind of things. But let's wrap up the plugs by talking about some other things. Callum?
You should be watching 2001 A Wrestling Odyssey if you haven't already, where me and Rob go back in time and check out all the news and events that were taking place in the year that changed professional wrestling forever. So we've got episodes stretching every month from January through to June, including a special on WrestleMania X7. So listen to all of those. Do some, like, history's fun, guys. Check it out. You can also read the power rankings when I put them up at the end of the week. It's just the weekly breakdown of who's top and bottom of the WWE totem pole right now. I almost said potentole. That just wouldn't work at all. And then follow me on Twitter at Weekmaster14. Rob?
And follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice. And check out WrestleZone Daily, Monday through Thursday on the WrestleZone Facebook page. Check out eWrestling News, The Ring Report, TimekillerApparel.com. Just click around and you know where to find us.
Also, when you're clicking, vote on the round 4 of the Sexiest 2019 WWE Superstars Tournament. We've got Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan pretty tight right now. We've gotten a bunch of different votes since we've actually done the tournament breakdown. And it's still just a 2-vote difference. So there's been 20-something votes since we recorded our podcast or whatever it was, and it's still just like neck and neck. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, and Tyler Bate and Adam Cole, and Robert Roode and Finn Balor. Those are the 4 matches that we've got for round 4, so vote while you can, because those polls are going to shut off at some point on Sunday or Monday, depending on what the flexibility is for my schedule and everything like that. And if we end up getting ties, then I'm going to have to carry things over a little bit longer and see how it goes. But, yeah. So that's all this kind of stuff happening. Lots to keep track of. But if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that other kind of stuff, you will be much, much better at keeping track of it than even I am. We will see you next time, everybody. For now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.